once in a while, a high school is honored by the homecoming of one of its favorite sons. Today, Morris Hills High School has that distinct honor. Ours, however, rises to another level when we recognize that this favorite son has distinguished himself not only in his career and in his community, but rather has made a contribution to our country in dimensions reserved for only a few. How fortunate we are to know he came here before us, and today, how blessed we are to welcome him home. General Ray Odierno assumed duty as the 38th Chief of Staff of the United States Army on September 7, 2011. But once upon a time, he walked our halls. A native of Rockaway, New Jersey, and a graduate of this fine high school, General Odierno attended the United States Military Academy at West Point, graduating in 1976. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in engineering from West Point and a master's degree in nuclear effects engineering from North Carolina State University. He's a graduate of the Army War College and holds a master's degree in national security and strategic studies from the Naval War College. He also holds 2 honorary degrees, a doctorate in humane letters from North Carolina State University and a doctorate of laws from the Institute of World Politics. During more than 37 years of service, he has commanded units at every level, from platoon to theater, with duty in Germany, Albania, Kuwait, Iraq, and the United States. General Odierno served as an executive officer and division artillery executive officer, including deployment for Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Furthermore, the general commanded the 4th Infantry Division, leading that division during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Under his leadership, he commanded the platoon that captured Saddam Hussein. General Odierno is married to his Morris Hills High School sweetheart, Linda. They have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. On good authority, I know that General Odierno was regarded as one of our high school's most respected and admired students, a scholar, a gentleman, an athlete, and a special human being. Please join me in welcoming home General Ray Odierno, Chief of Staff of the United States Army.
Great to be back. It brings back memories as I get to come back here. It's hard to believe that I know it's been 42 years I graduated from here. That's a long time ago. But a couple things, just to let you know how old I am and what it was like when I was here. As first year principal, his mom was my English teacher. And actually had quite an influence on my life as an incredible teacher. So the Rockaway Wall was non-existent when I went to high school here. When I tell them, as I travel around, they ask me where I'm from. I said, I'm from Rockaway, New Jersey. They said, oh, the Rockaway Wall. I know where that is. I tell them that wasn't even built when I lived in Rockaway. That's how old I am. Route 80 wasn't finished yet. Route 80 was, they had parts of it, but the part that went from Rockaway to Rockaway Township and Wharton was not finished. I will say, although I probably shouldn't say this publicly, there might have been a few drag races on that part before it was open. Don't report me. That's many years ago. I watched it. I didn't. The other thing, I grew up, where I grew up from, the house I grew up in was at the end of the parking lot of Morris Hills High School. And so if you go to the end of the parking lot, all the way down to that land that's in that house, that's where I grew up. So the advantage of that is, first I remember one day when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, that was all woods. And one day these big trucks came and started clearing that parking lot and the field that was down there. But I also remember when I was in high school, school started at 8:45. So I was very punctual, and I walked out of the back door of my house at 8:42 every morning. And it was a great advantage coming up here. The thing I remember most about my time here was the camaraderie that we had with each other. Back then, we had about a little over 2,000 students one year. My graduating class was around 500. I've been less than that. But there was a camaraderie, and what I remember most is how everybody got along. And it taught me a life lesson as I started to move forward in my career about including everyone together. And I look back at those days as really some of the best days of my life. But what I do realize is that high school is just the beginning. What high school does is it gives you the foundation to do other things in your life. Because your life, all you sitting in here are 16, 17, 18 years old. Trust me, you are just in the very beginning of what you want to achieve and what you might want to do. Because if you asked me back when I was in 1970, when I was a junior in high school and starting my senior year, if you told me someday I'd be a general in the Army, that I was even going to be in the Army, I would have told you no way. No, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I had some people who helped me along the way here at Morris Hills. Guidance counselors, teachers, who started to push me in a direction because of what I was able to do academically here, what I was able to do from an athletic standpoint, and what I was able to do from a leadership standpoint. They saw something in me that I probably didn't even see in myself. And they pointed me in the direction of the United States Military Academy. And I know there's a few people here that wrote letters, and I ended up finally getting recruited to play football there, that enabled me to do something that was probably the biggest break I ever got in my life. Was having an opportunity to go to a place that is probably if not the finest, one of the finest academic institutions in the world, not only the United States, but also one that talks to you and helps you develop as a person in terms of teamwork, in terms of understanding what's going on around you. So I didn't know that when I was a senior in high school. But what I did do is I took advantage of the opportunity that I was given. And I worked as hard as I can to make the most of it. And then things just happened from there. And life kind of unfolds in front of you. I mean, just to tell you how traumatic that was for me, is when I left to go to the United States military, I'd never even flown on an airplane. I mean, my life was somewhere between, our family travels to take us maybe as far south as Washington, maybe as far north as Maine or Massachusetts, and that was kind of my life. That's what I do. And I didn't know much outside of that. And when I went to West Point, it opened my eyes because I got there, and now I was surrounded by people from every state in the United States. I found people from all kinds of different backgrounds, who came from different types of family environments, who came from different religions, who came from different thought processes, and it broadened me as a person. But I had no idea that's what this would cause me to do. And now as I look back on it, I realize what an opportunity it was. But it all started here. It started here because this high school gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do. Now, you had to make some personal choices about that. And we all make personal choices. And I'd be the first one to tell you that I made some bad choices when I was here. And I did some things I probably shouldn't have. And I probably didn't quite work as hard as I should have in high school. But what this high school did was give me the foundation that what I needed. It gave me the opportunity. It had all the courses you could possibly want to take. It had all those sports that you might want to participate, all the other activities that you might want to participate in, which helps to develop you as a person. And that's what I remember. And I was able to go over in a place where I felt free to do what I wanted to. I had teachers and counselors that were encouraging, that wanted me to be successful in the future. And that set me on a path, I think, to do things that I'm able to do today. And I've been very fortunate. And they mentioned about meeting my wife Linda here. I remember so I'll just tell you a personal story. My wife is she graduated in 71, so she's a year, I call her a cougar today. Her sister was a classmate here. And we had an assembly actually right here. I think it was a sports award assembly after football season when I was a senior. And I walked out and she was sitting on the ticket office out there, waiting to take her sister home. And I saw her sitting over there. And as soon as I saw her, I kind of knew there was something really nice about this person. So I walked up to her, which really was not my style. I was actually somewhat introverted and quiet. And I walked up to her and started talking to her. And now here we are married 38 years and 3 children and 4 grandchildren. And she's been by my side the whole time. And so we had very different experiences here in the high school, but both of us have been able to take that forward together. So that's something that's very important to me. So Rockaway, she's from she's from White Mountain Lake. And so, you know, Rockaway plays a very important part in my life, even today. Marshall's High School plays an important part in my life. Let me just take a minute. Let me talk about what I do. So let me explain to you, what is the Chief of Staff being over here? Most people don't know, really understand it. So in the Army today, there's about 1 million people. You have about 500, a little over 500,000, what we call the active component, which is out there every day around the world doing things. We have about another 350,000 in the National Guard, U.S. Army National Guard. We have about 200,000 U.S. Army Reserves. You have a little over 1 million people in the Army. I'm the senior military person that oversees the Army, and my responsibility is to make sure that the Army has the right people. I'm responsible for training them to make sure they have the right resources.